so many questions for you. Nathan says that the flight data recorder from the passenger plane, the American Airlines flight, has been recovered. How critical is that flight data recorder in determining what happened?
Well, it's going to be absolutely critical. The flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. The flight data recorder is going to give you thousands of parameters of what the airplane was doing at exactly every second, what controls were manipulated, what the speeds were, what the headings, angle of bank were. All of that is going to be on the recorder, as will the cockpit voice recorder. Will capture all the sounds within the cockpit, including the transmissions from the air traffic control tower to the cockpit. And what's, I think, critical when you hear that, you've got to think about where the civilian aircraft are typically not on the same radio frequency as the military aircraft, so they were not hearing what was being said to the helicopter, and vice versa. That, along with what you heard before about staffing issues within the control tower, these are all going to be very, very critical factors in helping to determine the cause of the accident.
Mark, isn't there technology, I believe it's called traffic collision avoidance system, that's supposed to prevent exactly this kind of disaster? We know the plane had it, but does a Black Hawk Army chopper, do they have any kind of technology like that?
Well, let me answer that in a couple of ways. A, I'm not sure, I don't know about the military equipment, what's on board the helicopter. When it comes to the TCAS on board the civilian aircraft, when you get below a certain altitude, if it continually goes off to tell you that there are aircraft in the vicinity, it becomes a nuisance issue. So to take away from distractions, you disconnect that system below a certain altitude. But here's the other thing. You know, that airplane that was landing on that runway, and I've done that many times, you come northbound up the Potomac River and make a right turn with a slight left turn to start coming into the runway to land on. When you hear the air traffic controller giving you the clearance to land, you as a pilot understand that that airspace is yours. Now remember, there's a level of familiarity because the people who are flying in and out of that airport are professional pilots who have done this before and get qualified and trained to fly into Reagan Airport. So there's a level of comfort when you hear that air traffic controller telling you that you're cleared to land. Now, the other question is...
well, let me interrupt you for 1 second, Mark. Let me interrupt you. You and I have talked about various plane disasters over the years, and you're the one who I think told me that there are 3 fundamental rules in flying: aviate, navigate, communicate. Is there any plausible explanation, based on the facts that we know right now, as to why the Black Hawk pilot would not respond to control tower?
Well, I'm glad that my lessons took hold. Thank you. What I would say with that was, you know, the helicopters are there all the time. They're, as you heard before, they're up and down the Potomac River, flying constantly. And what the control tower will have said was that you have traffic landing on this runway, and they would have told the pilots from the American Airlines flight that you have a helicopter in the vicinity. Keep in mind that when you're turning in to land as a pilot, and that airspace now you believe is yours, you are concentrating on that approach, making sure that you're going down the center of the runway, landing in the touchdown zone. You are absolutely focused on that, and you're only maybe 5-7 seconds away from.
But you would also, but Mark, you would also see that passenger plane in front of you.
Well, here's the thing. You know, that helicopter was coming southbound. If you know the area, You're looking down to National Harbor, Old Town Alexandria, other planes coming in behind that landing aircraft, that American Airlines airplane, and airplanes taking off. You're coming in parallel now to a runway that's also an active runway, and there are a lot of lights coming at you. Was the helicopter crew able to distinguish which was the landing aircraft that they had to be concerned with, as opposed to other aircraft and other lights that they thought might have been that airplane?
Yeah, a lot of questions, but it was a clear night. At least we know there was no visibility issue in terms of the clouds. We're going to have to leave it there. Mark Weiss, thank you very much.
Thank you.